Ladies and gents, welcome back. The inquiry is over, and we have many good highlights from the inquiry, especially in the last days. And some questions were asked of Trudeau, and a lot of people are pointing out that he wasn't exactly truthful. And now we know that people are taking an oath at these hearings, and does that actually mean anything? And to ask this question, I brought in none other than the one to ask him the question at the time, and that's lawyer Eva Chipiuk. Welcome, Eva.
Hi, so nice to be back again. And now I'm back at home, so that's nice too.
Nice, you can relax now, somewhat anyway. Now, this is a long process. It's quicker than most. We know that inquiries can last like 10 years depending on what they're inquiring about. But this one has a timestamp on it. But it is an inquiry. It's not a court. It's not any of these things. Now, when being asked a specific question and somebody lies in a court of law, that's perjury. Now, in this hearing, people were sworn to an oath, but there's times where we can tell that someone was being untruthful or less than truthful in that. Now, what kind of teeth does this have, and is there a point to even swearing on a religious document or making an affirmation at this point?
Well, I definitely think there is a point to do it. Where, I totally agree that the truth was really skewed there. And what he did is he qualified it later. So if you continue to listen, he said, I was highlighting this and that about the vaccines or something of that nature. So he went on one of his kind of talks about why it's important to get vaccinated and what the whole point of that was. So
for people, just before you continue, before anyone asks, what was asked and what was said, you asked him specifically a question about saying things, calling unvaccinated people names. And you specifically said that. You said calling people names. He said directly, I didn't call unvaccinated people names. We know that to be false. And then he gave the qualifier. But yeah, sorry, you could continue because I just wanted to make sure everybody out there knows exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah. And so it's a little, it's kind of gray. I think if he says that it was when he starts to qualify, it's a bit harder to say that it was being untruthful or a lie. And I think that's why he continued to do it. Sounds like he was kind of prepared for that question because he had that answer ready. And it's not like, some people are talking about it's a contempt of court, I think is what I've heard. And that would be a criminal charge. So a police officer would have to go and take the action there. It's not just something you could bring up, as well as a private citizen. I think, like all of this, it goes to credibility of the person, credibility, especially of elected officials. And the question didn't just end there because it was, as a leader, don't you think it's better to unite people than divide them and name call? And that's where he went with the name calling. So he also had an opportunity to be like, yeah, it's about uniting our country. And that's not where he went. So he continued down, like, I guess he was saying he didn't call anyone names, but then went to why he did it and the justification for why he did what he did. Because as leader of the country, I have a duty to keep everyone safe. Actually, I don't think you do. But
yeah, I don't know if that's the purview of the prime minister in his roles. I don't think. And there's a lot of people call it the nanny state, and that's something that we don't necessarily want or need. We can see what's happening in China with their version of a nanny state, and that's going to be another one of the news stories this morning for this channel. But as for this inquiry, the evidence has been displayed. It's been brought forward, and now it's time for Justice Rouleau to view all of this. And he has a deadline. He has a deadline of, I believe, the 6th of February to submit it, and then it has to be at the House of Commons for the 20th. Now, what happens there? Like between now and then, there's Rouleau looking at his things, but then when it's submitted to the House, what happens from there?
Well, we're getting just a little bit ahead of ourselves because there's still 1 week of policy and recommendations. So
Oh,
today, if you tuned in, you could still see online on the same POE, like the POEC website, there was roundtable discussion with academics, professors, talking about, first it was like Charter of Rights and Freedoms and your right to protest. And then in the afternoon, it had to do with crowdfunding and FinTrack and laws. And so it's still super important to keep an eye on these things, because it was really hard to listen to some of it, because some of it was some of the academics talking were talking like none of that evidence came out. They're still talking MSN talking points. And we have to still keep our eye on this. So there's 1 full week of that until Friday. There's also going to be police action, not just, and the enforcement bit, and also intergovernmental affairs, that kind of thing. So there's quite a bit of interesting topics. And then once that's done, all parties are asked to submit a written submission, and that's due February 9th. And then after February 9th, December 9th.
December 9th.
And then yes. And so then that's when Rouleau is going to, well, I'm sure he's been starting to write his report, or, with the help of his 20 lawyers that are working behind the scenes. So then they have, like you said, a deadline of February 20th. So it is a pretty short timeline given all of the information, but it's still super important to keep an eye on this. And then I guess we'll see what kind of recommendations and report he has in February after all of this.
So a lot of Canadians are looking at this whole situation as, it's the government looking out for the government. So a lot of cynics are saying, oh, well, it's just going to be another one of those cases of we've investigated ourselves and we found no wrongdoing. These are all inside Ottawa characters. It's not like they brought in an independent judiciary. This is all government actors. So what can you say to the cynical people out there that are that are saying just that justice? How can justice be served when they're the ones looking after what they did?
Yeah, well, I don't know how to quell that, and I'm not, there myself. I have to believe that the system is just. Otherwise, it makes my job very difficult. I did see it in the last week, and I guess I should have expected it, as the ministers were dead set on defending their decision, because I don't know why they would have come to the table saying that it was wrongfully invoked. So there were very, very much defending their action, their decision. And so for the cynics, I think if there is a problem and you see that this needs to change, that's what I keep saying, keep an eye on these things, because if we keep letting it happen, it's gonna keep happening. We have to keep our elected officials accountable. And I think we've been very passive. We've been very apathetic as Canadians. And then now when it went too far, we're like, okay, that's enough.
Yeah, we have to pay attention to this whole thing. Well, I want to thank you so much, Eva, for coming on today. Where can people find you?
I'm on Twitter quite a bit right now, and TikTok. So that's for Eva 79 at both those, I think it is.
Okay, perfect. I'll make sure the links are in the description down below. Thanks a lot for coming.
Awesome. My pleasure. Take care.
And thank you guys for tuning in for this whole inquiry. A whole month we've been paying attention to this whole situation, and we're going to see how it goes from here. So I'll be giving you guys updates. It won't be like a daily update now from this point on, but anytime I get some news and hear about what's happening, I'll definitely let you guys know. So stay tuned for that. Anyway, leave a comment in the comment section down below. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and we'll see you in the next one. Keep on trucking.